Hi everybody and welcome to Saturday morning. It is Meals with Melissa where I give you healthier versions of things to eat. They're super simple because I just don't do complicated. So this morning we're going to do a little bit healthier take on one of my old favorites, which is no-bake cookies. I remember my mother making these as a kid and I still today, I love them. Of course I love peanut butter too. But remember that these are not necessarily calorie friendly, but if you've been following me at all, you know that I am not a fan of just tracking calories because the different macronutrients do different things in your system. So it's not just down to calories in, calories out. So if that is the only version of tracking what you're doing that you are using, we need to talk. So super quick and easy this morning. We are going to make no-bake cookies. We are just switching out the sugar for a little bit healthier, friendly version of it that won't spike your blood sugars. So now this original recipe actually calls for a maple syrup, and a natural one, but you know what, it still turns to sugar in your system. So we are gonna actually use erythritol. We are gonna use a little bit of Adam's All Natural peanut butter. Now, I like Adam's All Natural because they don't add a lot of excess sugar. You can also grind your own at certain health food stores. Almond butter is also a great version as well. And personally, I like the chunkier version for my cookies, so that is a great option. We are actually gonna start with, hopefully you can see my little pan right here. We're gonna start with 1 cup of peanut butter. Again, I use Adam's All Natural. Now this one's creamy because that's what I had on hand, but you can use the chunky as well. It works great. I'm also going to add to that a 1/2 cup of coconut oil. I just use the version from Costco. We are a Costco friendly family, even though I am not the biggest fan of Costco at this point. No offense, Costco, I just hate getting in there. It's so busy and it drives me crazy. All right, especially around the holidays. I'm just not very good at it. All right, so we've got a cup of peanut butter. We're gonna add to that a 1/2 cup of coconut oil, which honestly will melt down super fast because it has a very low temperature melting point. Okay, and I'm also gonna add to that here in a sec my erythritol as well. Now I'm actually using a combination of stevia, granulated stevia, and erythritol, which there's a couple of different brands. I use Swerve a lot because it's really super easy to find. But again, remember that if you're using erythritol or xylitol, you don't want to ingest too many of these at one time because it will give you digestive distress. And what I mean by that is gas, okay? So realize that your stomach will be a little bloated and that's not exactly fun because that's something we're trying to get rid of anyway. Now, again, this is sugar-free, but it is not carb-free. Now, if you choose to if you're going a little more carb, or if you're doing something a little more paleo, we're using oats today, but you could also use shredded or grated coconut as well. That would work just fine. Okay, so we're gonna get this. Now, it's actually gonna come together really quick, especially once that coconut oil has melted. So definitely keep an eye on it, stir it. I'm gonna throw 3/4 cup of the erythritol stevia mix. Okay, and again, I'm using granulated, not confectioner style. I know I've used that for a couple of recipes recently, which is great if you're trying to make frostings, especially like cream cheese frostings that are very low or no sugar. But you know, for what we're doing today, the granulated just melts a little bit better, works a little bit better. And of course, just be aware that erythritol or some of the Swerve products, they're not a complete swap exactly with sugar. So if the recipe calls for 1 cup of sugar, you're not going to swap exactly for 1 sugar of the Swerve. So you're going to have to check out the math on that. Can't do that right now as I'm stirring. Okay, so I'm going to wait till this is fully combined and melted. Like I said, it doesn't take very long. Let it heat up just a little bit, and then we're going to add some cocoa powder. I like the Hershey's dark. I don't know, like I like a little darker chocolate now that I'm a little bit older. Either way, it doesn't contain any sugar, so it's gonna be a little too much, a little too bitter if you're not adding any sort of sweetener, which of course we're doing with the Swerve or the erythritol. So I'm just checking my notes to make sure that I do this correctly because I wanna make sure that you know what you're getting into. Okay, so we're stirring, and then we're going to, we're gonna add cocoa powder. We're actually going to add exactly 5 tablespoons. So there's quite a bit of cocoa powder in there. 5 tablespoons of cocoa powder and 1 teaspoon of vanilla once we remove it from the heat. So we're gonna get that done here in just a sec. All right, I'm gonna grab a hot pad. Yes, I actually do cook in my household. It's mostly food prep at this point in our lives, but every once in a while, like Thanksgiving, we like to do some fun stuff. So now most of you saw this morning that I posted that I just yesterday became a grandmother. Pretty stoked about that fact. Pretty awesome. They say that there's nothing like it, and I am inclined to agree with that. So really anticipating that they're coming home this afternoon. Pretty excited because my grandbaby, I am biased. Get over it. She is adorable. All right. So as soon as this, I've got a couple more chunks of coconut oil that I'm just waiting for it to kind of melt down. I probably could have added that first. It would have probably melted a little bit faster. It's really not that complicated, so I'm not too worried about it. Now my daughter actually made a batch of this last night just to double check it, and she says that it thickens up really, really quickly. So we've also got a little bit of almond milk on hand just in case we have a thickening issue. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off here. Move it over to this. I'm going to add my cocoa powder. All right. So now as for if you do end up having to add the almond milk, please use unsweetened. Okay, so I'm gonna add five tablespoons and a little bit of, like I said, it's only a few different products or ingredients for it, so it doesn't take long to make, and that's what I like about it. You know, when you want something, you kind of want it like now. And because I just don't have time for complicated, it just doesn't work for me. I like something that's fairly easy, fairly quick, and that my whole family will eat. So I do test everything out on my family as we go. All right, I'm actually going to, I'm gonna keep it, it's working fine. Okay, let me throw in just a little bit of pure vanilla. Okay, super simple, quick on that. Okay, I'm gonna finish mixing that in. I'm just gonna add the oats. We're adding 2.5 cups of oats. That is the bulk of our cookie. I also saw a really, really great recipe recently for low sugar, no sugar Nutella. So a hazelnut spread. I'm all game for that, but I have to order a couple of things. So keep asking me on that one because we're definitely gonna try that one. All right, so I'm gonna mix in my oats. Now again, you could have the recipe. I'm actually not doing that today. I normally do. But my daughter tried that last night and said that she had a little bit of issue with it, so we're gonna go with the exact recipe. I am probably gonna add just a little bit of the almond milk because I can see what she's talking about. It gets pretty thick pretty fast, and we actually want it to actually hold together. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit of the almond milk. It won't really change any of it, any of the flavoring or anything. Make it super simple. And I've already prepared myself a cookie sheet with wax paper because of course I don't want it to stick. And so when I'm done, I'm going to use an ice cream scoop to ball them up and make them. I'm actually gonna make them a little bit smaller than they call for just because, now realize again, even though these are low in sugar, they're not low in fat, which is gonna drive up the calories a little bit and make them a little more energy dense, which if you're on low carb or keto will work out great. Now again, if you're on keto, you're not gonna wanna use the oats because that will be too much carbohydrates for what you're trying to do and throw you out of ketosis. Okay. See, this works out great. All right, I've got my little ice cream scoop. One of those baking tools that every woman should have. Use it year round. Okay, so I'm just gonna take an ice cream scoop. I'm gonna pack it together a little bit because again, I want it to hold together. And I'm gonna put this on my already prepared wax sheet. I'm gonna squish it together. Like I said, I want it to hold together because as it cools, it should bind together a little bit more. And then I'm gonna throw them into the fridge just until they're hard enough that I can take them out and we can eat them. So had a batch last night. We already know they taste good. Just wanted to make sure that they turned out well so that they look pretty as well. So hopefully that's something that's great that works for you. If you love chocolate, if you love cookies, and you need a little bit of a quick snack. Now again, that doesn't mean that you can eat as many as you want. Just because it's a healthier version of something doesn't give you the ability to eat all of them because of course, again, they are calorie dense because of the fats from the peanut butter and the coconut oil. But for somebody who, if it works for your macros, one of these once in a while to kind of ward off the munchies or, you know, a little bit of cravings aren't a bad option. So hopefully that helps you. And until next week, that's Meals with Melissa. Have an incredible Saturday, guys. Bye now.